As a Christian, when was the last time you heard from God? That might be the reason why you are still where you are. So I want you to stick around because what I'm about to share might be a breakthrough that you will need this year. So when I was reading this book, I got to realize there was something called an imposter syndrome. You know, when you don't even believe in yourself. So when you attain a success, you start doubting, am I really even worth this? So the three books I went in during this period is The Life That God Blesses, How to Raise Your Self-Esteem, and also The Magic of Thinking Big. And I wouldn't lie to you, these three books blessed my life so well. Sorry. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I would love to share something very important that happened to me a few days ago, or rather a few weeks ago. So I came about this challenge that I was going to finish um, three books in 2 days. So the intention was just to discipline myself because I felt like I was lagging behind when it comes to reading, and I had a lot of books I wanted to be finishing this year. But along the line, while the challenge was going on, I realized that it was not just about the book right now, that the books I chose now showing me some of the things that is happening to me that I am not even aware of. And that is one of the benefits of reading. That's why reading is so important, because sometimes you might not really know that something is wrong with you. Get a book and start reading. You start realizing that some things that you feel is normal and you feel, oh, this is a culture to you, might even be the reason why you are still stagnated and still where you are. So the three books I went in during this period is The Life That God Blesses, How to Raise Your Self-Esteem, and also The Magic of Thinking Big. And I wouldn't lie to you, these three books blessed my life so well. Start with the first book, which is How to Raise Your Self-Esteem by Dr. Nathaniel, Branden, a psychotherapist. One of the things that book made me to realize was because normally I used to feel like I have a very healthy self-esteem. But when I was reading this book, I got to realize there was something called an imposter syndrome. You know, when you don't even believe in yourself. So when you attain a success, you start doubting, am I really even worth this? Not even worthy enough to attain that success. And also you're scared that maybe when people get to realize who you truly are, they might be very disappointed. I didn't know I was actually passing through this, within me. I felt like, okay, it was just a normal thing. So reading this book helped me to realize that one of the things that before you want to attain success in life, you have to have a good, positive self-esteem. You have to believe in yourself first. Your self-esteem should be healthy before you can enjoy success externally. Another thing to note is that having a good positive self-esteem is not about, being boastful or trying to show yourself that you are even above other people. I got to realize that even when you are showing that, when you are being boastful, you are even having pride, you are showing yourself that you are more than any other person or above anybody, it shows that you don't even have a good self-esteem. So you need to work on yourself, because having a good self-esteem will help you to respect yourself and also expect anybody that's around you. So this is not me putting out to people that one of the things you should work on before you should even start thinking about success or moving out to achieving a greater height. You need to develop yourself. You need to first of all believe in your own self, because the way you treat yourself is the way people will treat you. One of the problems that we have is that most of us search for self-esteem everywhere apart from within ourselves. Sometimes we go about with this: only if I have a car, I will have a healthy esteem. Only if I wear good clothes, I'll have a good self-esteem. Only if I travel to Dubai, I'll have a good self-esteem. All those things are not bad. In short, they are also additional to a good self-esteem, like dressing properly, looking good, and all those things. But the first thing you have to do is to find yourself. Okay, so what if you lose the car? What if you lose the house? What if there is no clothes? Does it mean that you're not going to be yourself again? So sometimes we'll fail in our search, because that is where that imposter syndrome comes in. When you now finally attain that height that you're desiring, you are still looking like an imposter in your own success. So success should be enjoyed first internally before it can be enjoyed externally. Then the second one, I'm going to be sharing The Magic of Thinking Big. When I got there, I realized I had a very serious problem, because all this while I've always wanted to, take this channel, out to people, go and meet people, say, oh, I come and join my channel. I'm doing this thing. Please come and, I want you to be my guest. But sometimes I felt like maybe I'm not even worth this, that is where the self-esteem comes in. And sometimes I'll be like, maybe people will not even agree. Maybe people will feel like I'm still very small. So maybe people will just be like, what's she doing? But the moment I finished, well, I'm not done. But when I started reading this book, I got to realize that I was even the problem. It's not about other people, it was about me. I didn't know I had this average mentality. I just wanted to just be normal. I wanted to just be pushing it gradually, gradually. But this book made me to start imagining big things. The reason why I hadn't made this video is because look at my two previous posts, you realize that I started reaching out to people, and the people I'm reaching out to, they are even more willing to come and join me in this channel, that I am even willing to even invite them. And same so many other things, like I've unboxed myself where I boxed myself before, if there's any such thing like that. This book is one book I would want you to get, The Magic of Thinking Big. A lot of cases were settled, how to deal with shyness, how to become confident, how to get rid of fear, how to how to treat people, how to even do business. So many things were said in that book. And the last of it is the life that God blesses. So when I came across this book, I actually really wasted a lot of time, because when it comes to spiritual book, I tend to meditate. And one of the things that I saw myself asking myself is, when last did you hear from God? I asked myself that question. As a Christian, when was the last time you heard from God? That might be the reason why you are still where you are. Our God is a speaking and communication God. He's always speaking, but when there is nobody at the end to receive, the communication is not complete. The reason why we might be struggling is because we are not hearing from God. So I'm asking you this question: when was the last time you heard from God? Because in this book, The Life That God Blesses, it listed a lot of things that qualifies us for God blessings. And the first one is ability to hear from God. The second one is imitating God, having a compassionate heart, having a merciful heart, having, not being, having a forgiving heart. That is the kind of life that God blesses. And one of the example they gave there was David in the Bible. We realize what Saul did to David, but even with everything that Saul did to David, when Saul died, David still went back to the family and said, is there anybody in this house that God will need to favor through me? And that was how Mephibosheth came about. And, he started dining in the king's table. David is a man after God's own heart. So these are the kind of heart that God seeks for. And also sometimes God's blessing can turn to a curse if you're not being careful. And one of the examples they use here is King Uzziah. King Uzziah is also somebody that God truly helped. He helped. The Bible said God helped King Uzziah till he became strong. If King Uzziah was in this nation, maybe we would have attributed him to all this Russia, all this, because they had sophisticated equipment they were using to fight. For every battle he went, he won because he was always consulting God. But that blessing became a curse. Why? Because maybe he grew. God helped him to the point that he now became confident in himself, that he can handle whatever thing. And that was how he went to the church to go and eat to go and do what he was not supposed to do. Even when he was corrected, he was still feeling like maybe he's now equal with God, and God struck him with leprosy. And so many other things to learn from this book that I would love to share. But I'm just inviting you to go and read books. Let reading be a habit for you. I went in with these three books as with a mediocre mentality, but I'm coming out with a high flyer mentality. So the reason why you might be stagnated is not maybe not to village people anyway. The devil does not have power, but he can make use of your ignorance. You don't know what you are to do at that point of time. And as a Christian, if you're not hearing from God, if you're not, always seeking God first in every area of your life, I don't think you might even go far enough in life. Reading is a very good habit. Reading can make you might not really get enough, you might not really have that opportunity to sit with all these authors, but just one or two things you might get from their book can change your life entirely. So this year, make it a habit. I'm going to be putting out another challenge. Know that if you also join me in any of the challenges, and also if you stick around in any of my videos, and I know that before the end of this year, whatever thing that we are desiring from God, that God is going to grant it for us in Jesus' name. And I pray for you that whatever struggle you are having, whether in your reading, whether in anything, or maybe whatever that's making you not to have time for your books, I pray that God gives you the grace to attain or to read in the name of Jesus. Thank you very much. This is me inviting you to subscribe to my channel. If you really love reading, if you love books and you want to finish a lot of books this year, please do well to subscribe and also leave a comment with if anything resonated with your spirit. And I know I'm going to be seeing you in my next video. For now,